Have you ever found yourself stuck at a crossroads? You know the one. On one side, there's this dream, this thing that just lights you up inside. And on the other, there's the sensible path, what you feel you should do. It's the ultimate debate, right? Passion versus responsibility. Well, today we're diving deep into that exact conflict. Here's what we've got lined up. We're going to explore why this choice feels so huge, define what these paths really mean, and even put them head to head. We'll hear from real people on both sides and, try to find out if there's really a winner. And stick around, because we'll finish with how you can find your own personal balance. So first things first, let's be really clear. This isn't just some late-night dorm room debate. This is a real-life crossroads, a choice that pops up at the most important moments in our lives again and again.
And that really is the question that keeps us up at night, isn't it? Do you follow what you love, or do you do what you feel you have to do? It feels like you can't have both, like it's a game where one side has to lose. But does it really have to be that way?
If you're feeling this pull, you are in very, very good company. In fact, studies show that a whopping 60% of us are wrestling with this exact same thing, especially when big life changes are happening, like starting a family or thinking about a new career. It's basically a universal human thing. All right, to really dig into this, we've got to be on the same page. We need to get clear on what we're actually talking about. So let's take a second and just define these two paths. Okay, so on one side, you've got the path of passion. This is about chasing that fire in your belly, right? Turning your art or your big idea into your life, even if it feels like a huge risk. And on the other side, the path of responsibility. This is all about putting your duties first, making sure there's a steady paycheck, providing security for the people you care about. One is about feeding your soul. The other is about building a safe harbor. So now that we know what we're dealing with, let the battle begin. We're going to put both of these life philosophies to the test. See how they stack up against three things that are pretty crucial for a good life. First up, self-satisfaction. Now, following your passion, that can give you this incredible jolt of purpose, that feeling of, yes, this is what I'm meant to do. But fulfilling your responsibilities, that offers a totally different but just as deep kind of satisfaction, the kind that comes from knowing you're a rock for the people who depend on you. So both can make you feel fulfilled, they just take different routes to get there. But when you look at pure, simple happiness, well, the data tells a pretty clear story. A major study found that people who were actively chasing their passion said they were 25% happier than everyone else. I mean, think about that. A 25% jump in happiness that's huge.
But okay, happiness is one thing. What about stability? Keeping the lights on? This is where the story kind of flips. The passion path is often a big gamble. It could pay off big time or not at all. The responsibility path, though, is literally built for security, both with your money and your peace of mind.
And the numbers here are pretty powerful. Financial studies show that people who really focus on responsibility have, on average, 35% more in savings. Now, that's more than just a number. That's a safety net. That's breathing easier when life throws a curveball at you. And for our final test, how does all this affect family? It's a tough one. Chasing a passion can definitely put a strain on things. Less time, less money, but if you make it, you can be a huge inspiration. On the flip side, providing that security can make family bonds super strong, but if you feel like you gave up everything for it, well, that can lead to some serious personal resentment down the line. It's really a double-edged sword, no matter which way you go. So, charts and data are one thing, but what about real life? What does this actually look like for people who've had to make this choice? Let's move past the numbers and hear some of their stories. First, let's hear from Youssef. He's 28, a musician, and he's the poster child for choosing passion. He just went for it, quit his job, and now he says he feels totally free, living the dream. That's the best case scenario right there. But then you hear from Ahmed, and it's a completely different story. At 45, he gives us a serious reality check. He tried to follow his passion, it didn't work out, and he lost his savings. For him, the takeaway was crystal clear. You've got to take care of your responsibilities first. Now let's hear from the responsibility path. Fatima, a 40-year-old mom, chose a stable job to provide for her kids, and she doesn't regret it. In fact, she says she feels proud of that sacrifice. Her purpose came from being there for her family. And finally, Sarah's story shows us the potential trap on the other side. At 30, she was doing everything she was supposed to do, but she felt totally empty inside. For her, it was reconnecting with a passion that actually brought her back to life.
All right, we've seen the data, we have heard the stories, the lines have been drawn. So, after all of that, what's the final verdict? Who's the winner in this great debate? Is it passion or is it responsibility?
Well, the answer might not be what you expect, because honestly, it's just not that simple. In fact, this whole idea of forcing a choice, of pitting them against each other, that might be the real problem here.
See, the real victory here doesn't come from picking a side. It comes from finding a third path, a smarter way, a way to weave both of them into your life. The real winner isn't passion or responsibility. The real winner is balance. Okay, balance. It sounds great, right? But what does that actually look like? How do you do it in the real world? Let's talk about some actual, practical ways to build a life that makes room for both. Think about Khaled. He didn't just wake up and quit his accounting job. No, he spent 2 years planning his move to become a chef. That's passion with a plan. Or look at Miriam. She found deep meaning in her banking job because it was how she could provide for her kids. See, the secret isn't what they chose, it was the intention, the purpose, and the planning they put behind. And here it is. This is the stat that ties it all together. The proof is in the numbers. People who follow their passion but do it with a plan, that's the responsibility part kicking in, they report 20% higher life satisfaction. That's the magic formula. It's passion guided by responsibility. That's how you get the best of both worlds. So I'm gonna leave you with this question. Don't think about some massive life-altering change right now. Just ask yourself this. What is one small, totally doable step you can take this week to bring a little more of that balance to your own path? Whether it's setting aside 1 hour for that project you love or starting a tiny savings plan, that's where the journey begins.